So here we have our friend Jay Leroux, and longtime friend. Gosh, Jay, what's it been, 15, 16 years now?
Yeah. Yep.
We met in Lost Wages,
yes,
in Nevada, at a conference, Rick Howard conference. The late great Rick Howard.
It's true.
We all owe a huge debt of gratitude, and so that's what we've been doing. But I just thought we'd, since you're in town here, it'd be really fun to ask you some questions. So here we are, and I'm so glad that you're watching, those of you that are. So here's a question. Let's start with this. What do you think the Lord is doing in this time on the earth and in the U.S. and even right here in Couch County, Longview, Kelso? What would you say the Lord is up to and he's going to be up to?
I think that's a great statement. Historically, the Lord's always doing something, and really it involves the church. Really what's going on in the world's not so much of an issue with him, because we're really, by his doing, the agents of how the world will see him and know him. I mean, what an honor that is. And so what the Lord will do is, if we're not who we should be or what we should be, then we become his responsibility. And so he is literally shaking the church and the world. I think the prophet Haggai and the Hebrew writer will explain it, that not only the heavens and the earth, but the seas, the dry land, is shaking everything. But for us, the church it's really positive. And he always, which is the Isaiah 62, is so important, sets watchmen upon the walls. The first calling of the watchman, the second would be the prophet Ezekiel, and the words are that give him no rest. It's not a twisting of his arm until he literally says, it's Jerusalem first, of course, but makes us rebuilds us and makes us a brilliant light in the earth. And I don't think we're quite that brilliant of a light at this point, and we are in need of being rebuilt according to his pattern. And so it's very much going on around the world, definitely. Probably different in different countries, depending on where the church is.
Okay.
I think that the church is, definitely. But as overall, I think we've needed and he could bring a restoration, he could bring a rebuilding, he could just bring a reviving or refreshing. I want to see a rebuilding, that the temple really become everything he intended her to be, and not any less, not so much new windows or new doors or a facelift, but literally from the foundation up, a temple that's been his dream, his heart and his passion.
So, based on what you said, you started talking about shaking a little bit to make us that bright light and to get rid of the gunk and the dirt and the grime and whatever else. So the shaking then really is unto something. And what, I don't know what all the shaking would be, but what kinds of shaking? I mean, we've already seen some of it, but people say that there's a great shaking we're right on the beginning stages of. And what is that like? And what is God trying to shake away out of our lives? What is he doing? What is he trying to shake out of us?
That's a great statement. I think, and we know that it really starts, and that, like, the judgment is a little different in the New Testament. It's really a separating of what is really holy and what's profane, or what's right and what's not right. Not so much as anger or sending us into a captivity, or sending us, as he did throughout the Old Testament. But the Old Testament is the description to us of the way of God, which you really don't see in the New Testament. You don't see, we have that book of Acts, and we have really only a 90-year period of time to the Revelation that's being written, so we don't really see that. We got a pretty positive church. The Corinthian church is a bit carnal, but they weren't dull. I mean, it'd be a pretty exciting place to be, Oh my gosh, and very, very Gentile-like, probably very, very just New York, very San Francisco kind of a look, Mm-hmm. But he does have to shake it. Really, for this, if I was going to get it down to one primary thing, is that Jesus Christ becomes the central, preeminent passion of the church. Not apostles or prophets or worship or big names. Right. There's nothing wrong with those things if he's center. And I think that by by the expression or the lack of his character, his disposition, the lack of his nature in overall in the people of God, and our view toward the world, it's obvious that we're missing that element. And I'm not pointing out there. I'm talking about me, us. This is not them or that other church or those people. No, this is us. We're all going through it because I want that. I want him to be, and when he looks here, that it's the Christ that's being revealed, and nothing less than that.
Right. So the shaking, because it's unto that. So the shaking could involve some financial hits, could involve some, I don't know, family chaos or whatever. Any kind of number of things, or things that we see in the news and we get freaked out about, which we're not really supposed to be freaked out about it if we're really full of Jesus. But there are some things that are concerning. But we really got to be okay with whatever the Lord is up to, because ultimately he wants to shake away, I think, everything that is keeping us from bringing the light that you were just talking about, and that he would be preeminent in our lives. I know I struggle sometimes with that. I mean, I'm as human as the next guy in many ways. So, the Lord has to shake me from time to time. Just like, hey, Tilton, wake up a little. Yeah. It's not about your thing or whatever. It's really about me, and I want you to be in the image that I've created you to be. Awesome. That's our first one, and we'll be back with another section.